Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Yeah, I'm going to peel back the curtain a bit and say, good job for not fucking it up this time, Rick.
Yeah. I don't even know what the second word was going to be, because I started with non-stop. I'm like, I don't do this show.
Yeah, like, just, if I ever release that vocal clip, which I never will, the textbook definition of verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, it was like non-stop, fucking, ooh, and yeah.
These are words,
yeah,
and they sort of make sense if you squint your ears.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about weird gimmick video game controllers, but before we go too far into that, let's go with the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense, asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
Well, my question today is, I'm going to take a leaf out of your book, Rick, and completely cheat by not asking a hypothetical and just asking a question.
Let's go.
I remember back in the day when you get little toys in cereal and you get little Tazos in crisps, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
What is your all-time favourite thing you ever got from as a little cheap freebie while buying something to eat? AKA, I'm not talking like Happy Meals. I'm talking like a multi-pack of crisps or a box of cereal. It's something they don't do nowadays, and you told me it's because you can't advertise to children. But
yeah. Man, like, the one that I really remember is actually definitely a cheat, because it was one where you had to send off the multiple cereal box tabs and get the thing.
I'm not talking about that level of stuff. I'm talking about a one-and-done thing you find in the box.
I think it was Starscream.
Starscream?
Yeah, a tiny Starscream. And I didn't know what Starscream was at the time. It was just like the world's smallest transformer. It was like the size of the length of an adult thumb.
Could it actually transform, or was it just a static mini?
Oh, yeah, it transformed. But it transformed really badly.
Well, yeah, of course, it was tiny, but you know.
Yeah, like, all you did was you peel back the front of the plane, and it reveals a head, and the sides pop out into arms, and like it transformed really badly, but it still transformed.
Yeah, which again, at that scale, you can't blame it for transforming poorly. I'm impressed that it transformed
poorly,
considering it was a free toy.
Yeah, I can't remember what cereal it came in, but I also remember that it had a heat-sensitive sticker that if you put your finger on it for long enough, then it showed you that it was a Decepticon, which I didn't know until later.
Yeah, that's a classic staple for Transformer toys. Like, they all used to do that. It was the best. It was so cool. So unnecessary, but cool.
Like, you knew which one it was if you were the one that chose it. But it was kind of like if you're playing with it in your room and you're trying to make it go, I wonder what side this guy is on. Oh, let's put our finger on it. Oh, no, it's a baddie!
But again, I feel like a lot of people in this, especially younger generations, probably forget how TV shows for kids used to be just straight up, it's a 20-minute advertisement for toys.
Yes, absolutely. But yes, how about you? What was your favourite single item in a cereal/crisp packet?
Now, you see, this will probably reveal to you why I am the way that I am, and you'll know what I mean when I reveal to it. So, do you remember, I used to call them fake cigarettes, but they're not even remotely fake cigarettes. It's those little fucking packs of like 20 really thin tube type things that are basically like chalk, but sweet.
Yeah. So there's two forms of that, actually. There's the chalk ones, and there's the chocolate ones in edible paper.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the chalk ones, because the ones in edible paper were made to look like cigarettes, and I don't know how the fuck that was allowed. Yeah.
But yeah, either way, it was like candy cigs, and like you went through the packet with it. So I think with these, you often got a trading card.
No, better, a temporary tattoo.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
Almost always Spider-Man.
Reminds me, dressed almost always as Superman.
That's why I said it the way I did. But yeah, so they used to always have a superhero on the front, and whatever superhero that was on the front, you usually got their symbol as a temporary tattoo. So yeah, whenever I bought one, that fucking tattoo would go straight on. And what are my arms and most of my body covered in nowadays at 32?
Yeah, tattoo.
So yeah,
cool.
Like, and it's also just cheap. cheap and harmless, and it goes away in a day, so no one ever got mad.
Yeah, or more if you don't have a shower for a while, but even then you can sweat it off.
Yeah, or you get that one dickhead on the playground who didn't like the fact that other people had fun and would just fucking rub your arm really hard for a minute because they wanted to, 1, hurt you, and 2, get rid of your thing.
Yeah. Or tell Miss that, oh, it got a tattoo, make him get rid of it. Yeah.
I mean, no teacher ever paid attention to that shit. Also,
No.
At that age, we still had to wear the school jumper, so unless you were pulling up your fucking sleeves like a fucking bell end,
yeah,
you weren't going to see them at school. But anyway, I digress. I thought that was a great little thing. Very cheap, very harmless. What a great thing to just give away with your thing to try and make children buy more.
Yeah, it was cute. Like, if it weren't for Starscream, I would likely have just picked the Star Wars Tazos. But I also got a very small portion of them because we only got Doritos, and Walkers, as a way to inject a trading culture into the playground, only gave you certain ones of the series with certain of their products. So if you wanted, like, ones from a different movie, you needed to get regular crisps or the fat-free crisps or Doritos or whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't to make a trading culture in the playground. They didn't give a fuck about that. They wanted you to buy more different products and hopefully get hooked on the new flavours.
Yeah.
They didn't care about making a mini economy where kids would get beaten up by the side of the swings just to get their limited edition Anakin Skywalker killing younglings Tazo.
Yeah. Well, this is before Anakin.
I realise, Rick, I'm making a joke. Roll with it. Rick, what's your question for today?
My one for today is just a rather simple one. You are immortal, but you have to choose one weakness that kills you. What do you pick?
How advertised will this weakness be?
It's your choice.
Okay, so if I choose never to tell anyone, then no one will know.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Sun. Like, directly into the sun.
Oh, directly into the sun. Okay.
Yeah. I have to literally move from where I am and go into the sun.
Yeah, okay.
So there are 2 reasons for this. 1, it's really hard to get to the sun. 2, there's always those fucking anorak pricks who want to give a downside to every hypothetical, and the downside for immortality is, at some point the planet will be destroyed and it'll just be you floating through space. And if I try really hard, I could probably make it to the sun at some point if I really want to make it all end.
Quite the opposite. Quite a lot of the time, the sun will just expand and swallow everything up to the orbit of Mars, so the sun will come to you. So it sorts itself out.
Either way, if the Earth is destroyed and there's no point in living anymore, there is an out. So it's one of those where you got to have an out in case you get the really fucking doomsday scenario, but you also want it to be hard enough that you can still enjoy immortality with relative peace.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a pretty good one. Mine is a rather more simple one.
Go ahead.
And it's just self-harm. If you've got an immortal body, then possibly the only thing that can harm it is you yourself, and that's a reasonable, logical extension of it, and therefore being able to harm yourself and choose to kill yourself is a pretty good way to get out of the heat death of the universe.
I don't, I feel like that goes against the spirit of the question. However, you're the one who asked the question, and you're like, look at me with my fancy roundabout genie ways.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I prefer yours. Like, 100%, I prefer yours. Yours is a better one.
But anyway, what are we doing today, Rick? I don't think we actually touched upon it.
Yeah, we're chatting about weird controllers, gimmick controllers, and some things before their time, some things just fucking odd. So the first one I'm going to talk about actually is it became standard, but I thought this was black magic the first time I saw it. So like around 1995, I was at a second-hand independent game shop, which turned out to be the place I bought my first PC from, but that's by the by. And he had something really weird on the shelf. It was a wireless Mega Drive controller.
See, it's really weird that these are I mean, no, it makes sense that they're standard, because everything is... We live in an age where people hate wires, don't know why.
Yeah, like, I like wires, because they prove man's dominance over electricity.
That's one way of looking at it. I like wires because wireless sucks. Like it's gotten a lot better. Like, we're in 2024 and wireless technology is fucking everywhere, but it's just unreliable, shall we say. If something's plugged in by a wire, it's not stopping unless you unplug the wire. Yeah,
I remember the main transition period from wired to wireless was between like GameCube and Wii kind of generation jump. and my PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, I had them so close to me that I could just plug the wire in at any time because I didn't trust either of them not to run down. Like, the Xbox 360 even needed AA batteries unless you bought a specific thing to make it a plug and play on charge available thing.
Yeah, to this day, I've always got my controllers just plugged in. Like, it just makes more sense to me. That being said, again, we had this awkward transition period with controllers specifically, where they'd give you wires that were explicitly just for charging, so you couldn't plug and play, because they'd be like not even half a meter long. Which led to this.
Unless you were like sat the way you would for a PC, like you weren't sitting there with that.
Which led to this really fun thing that happened with my PS3 specifically, where I was like, okay, I like having my controller plugged in, but I can't sit this close to the TV because it's bollocks. So I went and bought a really long charge, because it was just fucking USB Type-C, or not Type-C, mini USB. So so I bought a big wire, and I was like, okay, let's buy this one. 5 feet seems long enough. I bought a 5 meter long cable. 5 feet
was not long enough. Yeah, 5 feet was not long enough. Yeah, 5 meters, a lot better.
I bought a 5 meter long cable by accident, and it was far too long. And I was just like, well, fuck it, I'd rather it be too long than too short. And I quickly realised that 5 feet, it would have been better than the fucking half a meter one, but not by much.
Yeah, like, you want 2 meters for one of those, probably.
Yeah, but just this fucking long coiling wire in the middle of my fucking floor for about 3 years.
Yeah, but these 1995 wireless controllers, they predated Bluetooth, so they would have been just run over infrared like a TV remote, which is bad at the best of times.
I was going to say, or like a few of these other controllers that are coming up.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that was like, it's the most pedestrian controller, and yet also it was the most mind-blowing to me at the time.
I get you, man, but my first console was the PS1, so I didn't get access to wireless controllers until PlayStation 3, and even then, I wouldn't really call them gimmick controllers. To me, a gimmick controller is a controller that it has a gimmick. It's for a certain type of game, you know?
Yeah. Take it away. What's your first gimmick?
I mean, I'm not doing this in any sort of ranking or list sort of sense. I thought we were going to be a bit more organic with our conversation, but sure, if you want to do it that way.
Like, it was that way. It was that, or me just go straight into bongos.
I mean, the first thing I want to talk about is the, quite frankly, at this point, legendary failure that is the Power Glove.
Oh, yeah. So I've never used one of these. I have seen one, but I've never used one.
Yeah, I've
They've
also
got one
never
at
used one. These things came out before I was born by a good margin. Let's have a double check here. 1989 in North America.
Yeah, they have a video game room at the National Media Museum in my city, and yeah, there's a Power Glove on sale in a glass cabinet there.
For sale?
Not sale, on display.
Right, okay.
Display.
I was going to say, that'd be weird.
Yeah, they're not selling all the exhibits.
No, it's very interesting, because pretty much any video game museum or anything that's preserving video game history, which, don't laugh, it's a thing, pretty much all of them have a Power Glove, because it's so notorious at this point.
Yeah.
I think
like,
go on, sorry.
10 years time, people are going to be like paying hundreds for physical copies of Concord because there's like a 2-week period in which it was available.
They're not going to pay hundreds for that.
No.
No.
Oh, it'll be like one of those discontinued Shrek toys from like a Burger King Happy Meal or whatever. Like, it's physically worthless, but because of scarcity, like, you're going to get some people, some anoraks that are like super into it.
I don't want to call them anoraks, because, hey man, you got to have a hobby. You got to have a thing you want.
That's why I said anorak and not something more inflammatory.
Oh, to me, anorak is inflammatory because it's only ever been used in that sense in my house.
Okay.
But fair enough, man. Like, you got to have a passion, and as long as you're not a fucking dick about your passion.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the Power Glove, man. I looked up some Power Glove stuff because I couldn't actually believe how much of a monumental fuck up it was. So it didn't actually have any games for it that were just for the glove.
No.
They had a couple of games where you could unlock additional moves if you had the Power Glove, but everything basically had
I didn't even know that it had that as an option.
Yeah, so I'm going off of Wikipedia because I'm not doing a proper deep dive on the Power Glove because that's not the point of the podcast. So the 2 games, one was made by Rare, and the other one was made by, doesn't say. So that should tell you something. There was a game called Super Glove Ball, a faux 3D puzzle maze game.
Right.
So it actually looks quite fun, truth be told, but it also looks a bit like a precursor to fucking Super Monkey Ball almost.
Yeah.
Except obviously you're controlling the ball and not the stage, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, essentially if you had the Power Glove, you could get Power Glove additional moves with the controls from the Power Glove, and that was it.
Yeah, so like your Marble Madness kind of things, yeah.
Yeah, and also according to Wikipedia, there was a couple more games that were announced specifically for the Power Glove, and they just never got released.
Sure.
That being said, though, the Power Glove did very well as far as selling them went. According to the stats here I've got in front of me, it did sell 1 million units, which in 1989 for video game shit, pretty impressive.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, exactly. Like that was like peak, like NES era, like trying to market the NES as a toy rather than a video game console because of the crash of the 80s or whatever.
I mean, Jesus.
Crash of 87, was it?
I couldn't tell you, man. This is before my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you saying that's very interesting because the manufacturer in the US was Mattel, and, you know, if you're marketing something as a toy...
Yeah, having Mattel do it is and like legitimately putting their sticker on your product is a very good way to go, yes, this is very definitely a toy made by the Very Definitely Toy Company.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen pictures of the Power Glove, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would work well, because you'd have to be constantly doing a Sentai pose to use it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it don't look comfy.
Yeah, and like it's saying like to program extra functionality, you'd need to press 0 to 9 to change what the A and B button do. This is a lot of work for a gimmick.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know. And just one last touching on it, and again, this is more stats I got from Wikipedia. They cost $100 retail in 1989, which is fucking expensive. That's the equivalent of $250 today.
Yes. Yes. Like you would not pay that for anything.
No.
If it wasn't like an actual controller at that point.
I mean, you're saying that like $250, that's about the price of a VR headset, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So it is around the price of like a what do they call it? The PS Vita. There's not a PS Vita. That's just a screen for the PlayStation. In fact, I think the PSVR 2 is even more than that.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. Like my VR headset was about £100. It wasn't very expensive at all.
Sure.
But obviously, I got that. When I got that, it's already like going downhill, as it were, because it's one of the standalone ones.
Yeah, totally.
And like, if I've lost my account on that now because they've gone out of. They were like migrating accounts to I forget what's Facebook's parent company called.
Oh, Meta. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like merging it with that, and they said, "Oh, you got to do this to keep your details." And I'm like, I haven't touched that thing in like 3 years. Fuck it.
Yeah. I've got the similar thing where you plug a very specific like 2 or 3 phones into it, and now you have to go through the Meta thing to get anything. And because they forgot that was a thing that they released, they've just not allowed that thing to go on the store, and yet you have to go through the store for everything. It's bollocks. So yeah, I've had to sideload things instead.
Yeah. Like I want a VR headset. I want one that plugs into a machine. Like I've told you the story as to why I got the standalone one in the first place. I wanted my dad to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey ho, diddly do. Yeah, Power Glove, infamous failure. But like, honestly, like failure as in people don't remember it well. Like everyone says it was shit, but like financially, like it did numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. The Steel Battalion controller, you might know of.
Is that the fucking... But is that the massive one?
Yeah, it's like a freaking thing the size of a desk.
Yeah, okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm thinking of. Go on.
Yeah, made for like one game on the Xbox. And you got the game and the controller as a package deal.
As you should.
Yes, exactly. For something like that. And by all accounts, it was rather fun to use, if clunky. But like the whole thing was like, yeah, it was like this massive ass freaking like console, like actual like console in the linguistic sense.
Yeah, like a console in like it's something someone would have to tap at to help fire the Death Star laser.
Yeah, or like Homer Simpson has at work.
But you know what? I'll give them credit where credit's due, because at the end of the day, Gimmick controllers, in my opinion, have always fundamentally been, how do we make home consoles feel like an arcade cabinet?
Yes, and like this is one of those that's like, it's peak that feel to me.
Yeah, I totally get it. I would never have bought that thing. I saw pictures of it and I went, that's fucking great. Ridiculous, but great.
Yeah, I'm also... I think it wasn't released in the UK, or if it was, then it was an incredibly limited run. I think I've seen one in real life once. So either it was a limited run, and that's just how many I've seen used in like GameStation's window, because why wouldn't you put it in the window? It's a really cool thing to just have.
Oh, yeah.
Or it was actually imported, which GameStation used to do back in the day before they were bought by Game.
I'm so curious as to see whether or not they made their money back on those. Like, they must have made money on it, otherwise they wouldn't have done it, but it can't have been much.
Yeah, like, this is not a cheap thing to make. I think it was like £100 or so to like buy the game, just because the controller was so massive. But even then, that was like a pretty good deal, because game controllers have never been cheap.
I was going to say, £100 for the game and that controller. Bullshit. No way was it that cheap.
Well, this is like, what, 2002 or so?
The Power Glove was $100.
Yeah.
And that was just the glove. Just saying.
Yeah, fair enough. It was, the vertical tank. Let's see. I've got the Wikipedia article.
We're using Wikipedia a lot today, guys. Please don't poo-poo us for that. Because effectively what Rick and I are doing is we're like, I remember this and I remember that. That was cool. And then we Googled those things and went, fuck it, let's just share some Wikipedia knowledge while also reminiscing about the fun times we had with these controllers. Apart from the Power Glove, none of us had that.
Yeah. Like, I don't think I had pretty much any of these that I'm going to be talking about today.
Oh, I had a couple.
But sure. I know they... okay, $200.
Because it sounds more correct.
Yeah.
That's still cheaper than the fucking Power Glove, though, if you adjust for inflation dollars.
Yeah. The $200 was for the controller while the disc was free.
That's fucking wild. But like, that's something that always used to fucking blow my mind, because it's something a teacher taught me when I was in secondary school, and that was, like, the actual physical disc is the cheapest part of the game to make.
Yeah. You even have pedals and everything.
Jeez, that's...
on this one.
That's insane to me. Like, that's very cool, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, because the only other thing that I have with pedals is my Rock Band drum set.
Oh, wow. Let's go ahead and talk about Guitar Hero, because, man, that was a Gimmick controller fad, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, like, I think the Guitar Hero / Rock Band guitar is, like, the most successful of Gimmick controllers, because I don't think anybody had one of those and didn't enjoy it at least somewhat.
Oh, absolutely. There used to be a story of... I say story. You remember Rooster Teeth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so their Let's Play channel, or just before that, actually, they Jack Patillo, he'd tell a story of how he was actually one of the best drummers on Guitar Hero for quite a while, because he didn't jump on Guitar Hero as soon as it came out. So by the time he got into it, they just released the drums, and he went, well, fuck it, I'll just get good at the drums then. And he did.
Yeah.
So he was just really good at the drums on Guitar Hero because everyone else was really good at the guitar already, and he didn't want to be, letting the side down, so to speak. So he just got really good at the drum part. It's really interesting, the drum kit, because I never had the drum kit for Guitar Hero. I only had the guitar, which was more than enough for me. That was fun in its own right. But the drum kit was really funny because they sold individually layers of foam for the drums, specifically so you'd make less noise when whacking it.
Yeah. So I also have I've got the Rock Band drums, and that is just a regular MIDI drum kit, because they had the choice of make one of those relatively cheap and sell it, or invent something new. So they just sold what already existed. And apparently it's reasonably okay for like what it is if you just plug it into a PC and just like run it through like Cubase or whatever.
So that being said, then, if you got really good at the drums on Guitar Hero and Rockstar, you could Rock Band, you could just transfer that into a proper drum kit.
Yeah. I mean, it's MIDI drums. It's fake drums, but it's not that different to real drums.
Yeah, I get you. Obviously, the guitar part. No, you can't transfer that skill.
Yes, they even did that at a Dragon Force, the one Dragon Force concert I was at. Somebody at the front row went, "Yeah, play it on expert." So as as the jokers that they are, they played exactly what it would feel like to play the guitar the way that where your fingers would be playing it on expert, and it just went and then they just like failed immediately.
Well, it's also one of those where the Guitar Hero controller did a really good job of making you feel like you were playing the guitar for the sake of a video game. In order to increase the difficulty, obviously they couldn't add more frets and more strings, because at the end of the day it is just a controller. So what they did is, to compensate for that, they'd make you have to strum really fucking fast.
Yeah, so that, and the other one was make it so you have to move your fingers on the frets very awkwardly and very quickly.
Yeah.
So you have to do two at once, and then two at once in two different places. I know, like the basic bitch easy mode was you just have 4 frets. So instead of the 5th one?
I'm sorry, my friend. Basic bitch easy mode was 3 frets.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Medium
was
3.
Yeah, fair enough. I went straight in at Rock Band, so the basic easy mode on Rock Band was 4.
Yeah, so I couldn't play expert on guitar, but I could play expert on bass, because
sure.
Yeah, those guitar
solos. Yeah, there are 4 fingers.
No, 5.
Oh, there's 5 fingers on the bass. Okay.
Yeah, it's just because you're not doing the guitar solos and you don't have to do chords. It's just easier.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough.
But it is what it is. The way they changed the bass gameplay is they do open notes, which means not holding any of the frets.
Yeah. But yeah, Rock Band was just generally a fun thing to have. Like you have like multiple people in the room just jamming out to some bullshit, and somebody makes it go bad because they couldn't be bothered singing. So they just go. You don't have to get the syllables. You just need to get the pitch.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. On Guitar Hero, you didn't have to have once they started doing the full band gimmick, you didn't have to have everyone playing different instruments.
Yeah. So
you could have 4 people just playing guitar if you wanted to, and you could just have fun doing that. After World Tour, you had to have a regular band. Did I tell you about the time I met some cool Italian dudes because of fucking Guitar Hero?
Maybe. But you can tell the chat.
So I was playing Guitar Hero World Tour with some guys. I was playing bass because nobody ever signs up to play as bass on multiplayer. So I did bass with them. We played for about an hour, and once I finished, I was like, okay, I gotta go. I'm tired. And I got a message from them on PlayStation, PS3, and it was in slightly broken English, but that's fine. I got what they meant. And the reason why I knew they were Italian is because they had the little Italian flag next to their fucking username.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
And they said, oh, yeah, you that was really cool, man. And I remember this bit because it still makes me chuckle to this day. It's like, we jam every Friday, so if you're up for that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, I'll keep that in mind. And I'm like, these guys are taking this perhaps a tad too seriously. I just like playing a video game. I don't think I'm a musician here.
Oh, yeah. I'm not joining a band.
Oh god, no. I don't want to commit to playing Guitar Hero every Friday. It's just what I happen to do on this Friday. I'm going to play Black Ops Zombies now.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been World at War Zombies. My timeline's a bit fucked up.
Yep. Yeah. What else was there? There was the I think the Wiimote essentially has enough content to have its own video.
However,
but
I also have this on my notepad of Wiimote was the king of gimmicks.
Yeah, just in general, like you could put the Wiimote into almost anything and it would nominally work, except having the Wiimote on its own was almost always easier.
Yeah, so when I got the initial Wii, we bought it secondhand because the dad whacked the kid on the back of the head accidentally while playing it, so they were like, we have to sell this now.
Yep.
And I was like, cool. So we bought that for super fucking cheap, and it came with the accessory pack for the for the Wii Sports, which was just everything you were holding the controller the exact same fucking way, only now it had an extension that made it look like a baseball bat, and it's like, oh yeah, I can see why the kid got hurt.
Yeah, it was just like a really short golf club. Like, it doesn't even reach the ground. It doesn't even reach your thigh. It's just, it looks like a golf club.
Yeah. yeah. But they had the extension for baseball and for tennis, and it's the same fucking motion. It's just, oh, no, gotta put the fucking tennis attachment. You didn't have to actually do that, obviously, because there's no wires on the attachments. They were just really shitty plastic.
Yeah, it's just there. Let's just, like, give you some landfill plastic to fill this packet up. Yeah.
And,
they did Link's crossbow training, they did as well, where you load it into this gun.
Yeah.
And we mentioned infrared in the past, and this is one where it was both Bluetooth and infrared.
Yeah,
they had the infrared bar.
Yeah, you had to put it on top of your TV, and they had to make the infrared bar so fucking thin because no one has CRTs anymore.
Yeah, they had to make it. Thin, and you could put it below or above, and you even had a thing to say where it was. And if you didn't have one, you could just light 2 tea lights.
Shut up.
Yeah, anything that gives out infrared, it would see and go, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, it didn't care whether or not the IR bar was plugged in. All it cared was that you could see some infrared.
That's wild. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. If you
as long as the 2 tea lights were able to give you like a feel of 3D, then yeah, it was fine with it. You could see it.
That's cool. I'd rather just use the bar, but cool. Yeah, so the Wiimote was such a gimmick in the first place, because the Nintendo Wii was basically a console made around this gimmick, and it did really fucking well. Let's not beat around the bush there. It did so well that both Sony and Xbox tried to copy it and failed.
Oh yes.
Anyone remember the PlayStation Move? Anybody? No.
Like, or the iToy.
That's on my list, so we'll shut up about that for a moment.
Yeah, and the Kinect.
The Kinect was dog shit. Oh god. Here's the thing: the iToy gets a pass because that was PS2.
Yeah, and it was just a camera. The Kinect tried to be interesting and up their own arse about it. It's like, you are the controller. All you have to do is move and do things.
We're gamers,
they even did a Steel Battalion for Kinect.
Fuck off.
Like, that's how it was. It was the Kinect sequel to Steel Battalion was just pretend you have this big massive console. Go. I saw like videos of people hacking the Kinect, and it was really interesting because it throws out like thousands of infrared points, and it constructs a 3D image in real time within the like gubbins and the microprocessor of where things are that may or may not be bodies. And then it recognizes what a body is and then translates that into a control.
Yeah, except here's a fun one. It didn't like black people.
Oh, yeah, it didn't like black people. And there's nothing it could do because you still needed reflection from like skin and what have you, which is less prevalent when you have more melanin.
Yeah, so the amount of videos on YouTube of black YouTubers trying to use the Kinect and it just not playing ball, it was actually depressing. Like, imagine, because the Kinect wasn't cheap. In fact, it was one of the reasons why Xbox got a lot of shit, because there was a point in time where they were like, it's not optional, you have to have it. And it's like, it added like $100 to the console price.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it was, yeah, they when they first released it, yeah, you had to have it, and it wasn't until like a year in that they went, okay, we're going to now release one without the Kinect, and it increased the power of any Xbox One that didn't have it plugged in.
The funniest,
because it wasn't dedicating like a third of the fucking processing power to it.
The funniest thing was, hey, you can turn your Xbox on or off from across the room, and it's like, Xbox, turn off. And the funniest thing is if that advert played in your house, it would stop the video you're playing and be like, are you sure you wish to turn off the Xbox? And it's like, oh, fucking, you didn't think this through, guys.
You also had to have the correct accent as well.
Oh, Scottish people were fucked.
Yeah. Like even JonTron was like, Xbox, and yeah.
You know, with today's AI, they could probably, like, assuming you got the console out the box, they could probably adapt to different people's different accents. But back in the humble days of like 2015.
Yeah. What floor do you want to go to? 11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've also seen that video. What's it called? The fucking voice recognition doesn't work in Scotland.
Yeah. The chainsaw.
I'm not familiar with this.
This is actually one of the most pedestrian ones. It's just a regular GameCube controller that is a plastic chainsaw, and it was released for Resident Evil.
Really? Okay, interesting. I thought you were going to say fucking Lollipop, that game.
Yeah, it wasn't for Lollipop Chainsaw. Like that would have really made sense. And apparently that's getting a like a remaster or a re-release or something.
It was on my not my wish list, my discovery queue the other day on Steam, so it's coming to PC as well.
Yeah. I remember she, in that game she just walks around with the head of her dead boyfriend.
Yep, that's the plot.
Yep.
Here's one. I'm very confused by this because, to my knowledge, you never use a chainsaw in Resident Evil.
Yeah, I don't think you do either. I think it's just like, oh, you might do in Resi 4 because that's the one that everyone likes.
I don't think you do. Not as a weapon.
Maybe just in QuickTime events or something.
I don't think you do, but I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Just another one that was in the Wiimote was apparently this sold a full on bowling ball.
That one makes no sense.
Yeah, because you needed to press B to hold the bowling ball and then let go of B to let go of the bowling ball.
Well, it also makes no sense because the Wiimote is like 6 inches long, so that would make the bowling ball pretty fucking big.
Yeah, it did. And the idea was you put it inside the bowling ball, and like, why this? It's just making it unwieldy for no fucking reason.
Have you got a picture of this? Because I actually doubt its existence. Because like I said, I got the Wii Sports bullshit accessory, whatever the fuck you want to call it, bundle when I bought this thing secondhand, and it didn't have a bowling ball. It just had these bats, and it had the gun, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll send you a snip real quick.
Send me a snip.
Yeah, I'll send you a snip over the disco if it sends.
It does send, but Rick, this is like a picture of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Okay, so it would have only been the top half of the bowling ball then.
It's got the other half of it and it closes.
That's dumb. I can't. This doesn't look real, Rick.
Yeah, it's crap.
I'm not saying you've manipulated and photoshopped this image for me, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No. Here's another picture of it with the strap on.
Can't say that word. No, Rick, this looks fake. This looks like someone's doctored photos.
But yeah, the bongos.
Yeah, I never.
Bongos were the best.
I never had the bongos. This was a Donkey Kong thing, you said.
Yeah, so it released with Donkey Konga, which was the rhythm action game where you just played bongo versions of like mostly Nintendo game sounds and things that were just royalty free. But you had 4 things that you could do with this. You could play left bongo, right bongo, both bongos, or clap.
So there was a dedicated
the microphone.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, was there a dedicated clap button? Because that would be funny.
What you could also do to clap is just slap the bongo, because that would also make enough noise for it to go. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because they were hollow and they made noise.
Yeah, I get the fucking concept, Rick. Jeez.
Yeah. We had one friend who had 5 Donkey Kong bongos.
Did he ever
because
tell
his dad,
why?
Because his dad realized that the Donkey Kong bongo was a thing that they used and kept buying more, not realizing that the game came with enough of them for enough people.
That's actually incredibly wholesome, though.
Yeah, it's really adorable.
It's just like...
And they were cheaper than like Wiimotes or other controllers or whatever. So it was like, oh, you need more of these to play with all the friends. And yeah, that's more than there are slots on the GameCube.
That's really adorable. I love stories like that.
It's very cute. Yeah. But there was a second game, Donkey Kong's Jungle Beat, which was actually a platformer that you use the bongo for it.
Can't imagine that was good.
Apparently, it was actually good. A friend of mine had both of these. Like, I never played it because it was his, and I already was persona non grata for playing with a mate's Disgaea until I got my own copy. But yeah, one of the guys had both the Donkey Kong games and the bongo, and yeah, the platformer was actually pretty good. Like, you'd slap the right bongo to advance, and you'd clap to jump. And,
what it sounds to me, Rick, is that this wasn't actually a platformer. It was a rhythm game hiding as a platformer.
Oh, yeah. But you... like it had regular boss fights where you'd like run around, jump over its attack patterns, and then when you grappled onto it, you just go mental and like Donkey Kong ground pound everything.
I'll take your word.
You know,
for this.
when he goes mad and slams everything. Yeah.
Not really a thing Donkey Kong does.
Well, it's like his down and B in Smash.
Yeah, okay, but he never. The Smash moveset was made for Smash, Rick. It never happens in his games.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and this was after Smash Brothers Melee, because obviously that was a release title on the GameCube. But yes, there's... what else are we thinking of?
Okay, cool. They're not really gimmick controllers, because you kind of need them. Fight sticks.
Yeah. So they're like regular... They have all the buttons and things that a regular controller needs.
Nope.
Actually, yeah. Half the time they've got half of them removed because they need like
they just have the
stick and like ABC.
So if you've ever played on an arcade cabinet, you usually have 4 buttons and a joystick. So
yeah,
the 4
buttons.
Yeah. Like some of the older fighters will only have 2 buttons, but like most games have high kick, high punch, low punch, and then you got the joystick for other shit. So I want to say it was Mad Catz used to make a ton of these.
Yeah. Like Mad Catz in particular, they were the ones that made like so many themed ones, but it was the same thing.
Yeah, man, it's just same. Like I think Mad Catz recently went out of business, and it was a sad day. But yeah, fight sticks. If you wanted to play a fight, hell, if you watch the fucking I've forgotten the acronym. Fuck it. If you watch any fighting game tournament, almost everyone is using a fight stick. No one uses a fucking console controller in those things.
Yeah. Like I've only ever used fight stick adjacent things at the arcades. I've never, played with one in a consumer market.
Oh, absolutely. I've only it's fundamentally gimmick controllers are trying to make games feel like arcades, and
yeah.
No clearer a picture is that painted than with fight sticks.
Yeah.
The only annoying thing is, of course, if you ever watch these fighting game tournaments, there's always like 10 minutes for the match where both people have to fucking make sure their controllers fucking work. It's so fucking funny. But yeah, am I right in assuming that you've gone through your list, Rick?
I've got a couple more.
Go on then. Try and naturally transition after this unnatural break from fight sticks.
Well, here is a transition that I would call relatively natural. Something that wasn't intended for use in fights, but also predates the Wii Remote by like half a generation, was the the Dreamcast fishing rod.
Man, and, British people in the Dreamcast, man.
Yeah, we tried using the fishing rod for playing Soul Calibur, and it was incredibly fun.
Okay.
It was just like a lot of the time you would have to cast forward to advance rather than to attack, but still it was very fun. And they refined this and made it something you actually used when you played with the Wii Remote, in the next generation. But yeah, it was kind of funny. We had one family friend who their dad actually bought a Dreamcast just for the fishing game.
Yeah, it makes sense though, doesn't it? Because it's really easy to forget that one of the all-time fishing game greats is Sega Bass Fishing, and it's really easy to forget the fucking word Sega at the beginning there. Of course, a little less easy to forget when you play Yakuza, because it's in every fucking Yakuza. And
another Dreamcast one was the Samba de Amigo Maracas.
Yeah, those are shit.
Yeah, they were. It was just the worst version of the bongo.
That wasn't good. Going back to the fishing rod though, very interestingly, I have a fishing rod on my list. It's very different though. Okay, so standalone game. So very Tiger Electronics, but it wasn't Tiger Electronics. Where it was a fishing,
that kind of feel.
Yeah, it was a fishing rod, but it was just a handle. You didn't have the rod. You didn't have any of the bullshit that comes with a fishing rod. It was just a rod. It was a bit bigger than an average rod because it had a screen on it.
Did it have the reel? Was that where the screen was?
No, well, sort of. Not really. It had a reel, yeah, because that was part of the mechanic. But the screen was on the top of the rod, so that's why it was a bit bulkier than an actual rod.
Right. Okay.
And what it was is you'd cast back using the motion of flinging a fishing rod, and on the screen you'd see your hook drop to the bottom of a lake, and I'm using air quotes, and then you'd slowly turn the reel, and if you were lucky, you'd get a bite. And fuck me, the little motor that they had inside the rod made it feel like it was a bite, and then you'd have to fucking reel in the fish. And there was no points to this game. It was basically just a gimmick toy when you get down to it. But in my opinion, it can go in the controller category.
Yeah, vibration simulator.
Okay, it sounds weird when you put it like that, but okay.
But yeah, I think that's it from mine. How many more have you got?
Couple.
Cool. Let's have them.
Have you ever heard of Thrustmaster?
I think so.
Yeah. So this is the first company that ever made steering wheels and basically racing controller simulators.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the very first one, and it is just a steering wheel and 2 pedals. And I had one of these as a kid, but it was an off-brand, really cheap one because my family is poor. And I got to tell you, never fucking worked properly.
I had a steering wheel that came with my my second ever PC. Never fucking used it because I didn't have any fucking driving games.
Yeah, so it's not a good addition. But the entire purpose of these is, again, trying to invoke the feel of an arcade cabinet. Because is there anything more fun than playing a fucking driving game in an arcade?
Yeah. Because you sit in the shitty plastic chair, you wrestle with their shitty controllers, and it's just so magical.
Yeah, it's great. I just remembered another controller that's not on my list while talking about that because it died a death. Do you remember Tony Hawk's one?
Yeah. So when they did the kind of semi-soft reboot, they gave you like a skateboard controller, which was basically just a Wii balance board, wasn't it?
I mean, I couldn't tell you, but it wasn't good because people kept hurting themselves.
Yeah, the Tony Hawk Ride skateboard controller.
Yeah, I can understand why they tried to do it. I really can. It's a neat gimmick. It's a neat idea. You can't sell this shit without like a helmet and elbow pads.
Yeah.
Every video of anyone trying this, they always fucking stack.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But yeah, they tried, man. We're going to loop back around to the iToy.
Yes.
So the iToy was basically just a webcam. You plugged in it was just plug and play with your PlayStation. And let me tell you, I didn't think there was many iToy games until I looked into it, because I had the iToy Play and the iToy Groove game, and those were both great. They were good crack. They were good fun. And then I looked at the list of iToy games, and there's fucking hundreds.
Yeah. Apparently, it was really popular in Britain.
There's a good reason for that, because
it was.
Who released the first 2 iToy games? It was London Studio.
Okay.
So, it also released in Europe
enough.
a whole year before North America. Sorry, not a whole year. A couple of months for the first game, a whole year for the second game.
Yeah, fair enough.
And here's a thing that, again, I didn't realise. Apparently there was a whole bunch of games back in the day which had a little sticker on them just saying, enhanced with iToy. Don't fucking know how. Yeah,
I'm guessing it's kind of like they would take your picture and like that would be your icon or whatever in the game.
Oh, okay. If you go onto the big old list of games, it actually tells you what they did for some of them. Some things it just says like AFL Premiership 2005. That's probably exactly what you're talking about. You can probably take a picture yourself and use it as a player icon. But like Burnout Paradise, when you start the game, the iToy can take a picture to be used on your license. A bunch of them had.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, and a bunch of them had exclusive iToy mini games.
Okay.
But then again, that was also games that like Dance, which is kind of physical anyway.
Yeah.
Fucking Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban features iToy minigames. Jackie Chan Adventures features iToy minigames. Weird.
Man, Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah,
I love that show.
I love that, and I love Jackie Chan in general. It's a shame he's a massive fucking China shill now.
Yeah.
I get it. He's Chinese. It makes perfect sense, but boy, is it a real pity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had great fun with the iToy. So did my sister and my brother. It was a lot of the games were very samey. It was, here's a ton of shit on the screen, get rid of it.
Yeah, one way or the other. It's like you use your arms to clean things away, or punch things away, or dodge the shit that's coming at you. Yeah,
but they were simple games and they were fun, and it got fat little me fucking moving. So kudos to them for that. I'd still remember my favourite game to this day was a cleaning window sim, where it was just they just put a glass filter over the image of you, and there'd be a bunch of bubbles, and it's like clean the windows. But the best part about it is the entire entire time you're playing it, you got George Formby singing When I'm Cleaning Windows. Which is a great use of that fucking song.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cute.
The only problem is, if you're really good at that minigame, you hear the song about 5 times in a row.
George Formby Grill.
George Formby, you mean George fucking Foreman?
Yes, I mean, okay, so I know that it's a George Foreman grill, but I think it's a Peter Kay joke that one of his family members called it a George Formby grill.
Oh, okay, sure. I had no idea to know that was the joke you were making. I thought you were just being an idiot.
No. I was referencing someone else being an idiot as told by someone else additionally, who was funnier than me.
That's fair. Okay, let's talk about the very final Gimmick controller I want to talk about. And it's something we kind of touched upon already, but it's arguably probably the most successful Gimmick controller and one of the most popular games of all time.
Okay.
Duck Hunt.
Oh, yeah, the Nintendo light gun.
Yeah, so, or if you were me, you bought a standalone, not Tiger Electronics, but an equally shitty off-brand thing that had a controller that had 3 handles.
Yep.
And the middle handle acted like the base of the gun, and you had this really weird purple cone that you'd point at the TV, and that would be in sync with the reticle.
Yeah. So there's other guns as well, like Time Crisis. Mostly an arcade game, but they released like a home version of it.
Yeah, but you could say
you
could say that about not Dawn of the Dead, but the fucking zombie shoot bang as well. That they never released controllers that were anywhere near as good as the arcades.
Yeah, that House of the Dead. Yeah, I remember in PS3 area they were trying to move away from making things look like guns for the home market because they were trying to move away from school shootings. But Time Crisis was the only one that released one that was like, it was bright orange, but it was still a gun.
Man, America likes to do a lot of things where it's like, we're going to change everything possible to minimise school shootings, as long as that thing isn't get rid of the guns.
Yeah.
And it's like, the one thing that drives me crazy about, and I can't believe we're not going to go on that tangent, actually. We're doing a video game fucking podcast today. Fuck you, America. What were you going to say, Rick?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're vetoing the feel sad.
Just completely unrelated to what you to that point. Then Rick has just shared me the box for the fucking Wii bowling ball, and I still can't believe it's real. It looks dumb. There couldn't have been anyone who thought this was a good fucking idea or a good purchase.
Yeah. One thing that has jogged my mind though is this bowling ball is apparently Wii Motion Plus compatible, which was Nintendo realizing, the Wii remote's a bit shit at doing motion controls, so let's add an additional module to it to make it like even better at approximating where your hand is. They realized that this was so integral that was required for the Zelda game that used it. And in future iterations of that Wii remote, it was already built into it.
Yeah, like the Wii in general, it was such a shame that it was so gimmick intensive, because, I liked a lot of Wii games. Those Wii games would have been better if they didn't have the motion controls.
Yeah, because it came out in, like, 2005, which was not long after the GameCube, it felt.
You got to bear in mind, I didn't have a GameCube. GameCube was like 90s, wasn't it?
No, GameCube was like 2002.
I don't...
Like 2001 at the earliest, but like... Remember, Dreamcast was like 1999.
Yeah, Rick, I didn't have a fucking Dreamcast, so I don't know when it came out.
And that was before, like, PS2, GameCube, all that, so... Yeah, I think the GameCube and PS2 were like 2002.
GameCube came out in 2001.
2001, okay.
The Wii came out in 2006.
2006, okay.
It came out at the same time as the PS3 and the Xbox 360, so therefore your point's null and void.
Okay, well, it felt close compared to what games are these days. Like, if you go 4 years currently, that just means you're going to get a mid-season upgrade to the game's console, not the next console.
Yeah, but that's because the companies are money-grabbing bastards.
Yeah.
The PS2 came out in 2000, so I think what actually happened here is it felt a lot shorter because the GameCube came out after PS2 by a year.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about in regards to controllers? Because I've gone through my list. My memory got jogged about a few fun things, but because I know what point I want to end on.
Sure.
Are you okay with me to use my ending point?
Yeah, let's go.
Fuck Gimmick controllers. VR is the future.
Kinda, yeah. Like, I think VR is the only one that's kind of here to stay.
Like, the only thing thing that's going to happen is VR is going to change from a headset and some things you put on your hands to this is the room in my house where I go to have my fantasies.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be the holodeck.
Yeah, you strap yourself into the omnidirectional treadmill, put your head on, and there you go.
No, holodeck, much better.
Oh, I mean, if they can, but that's proper sci-fi.
Yeah, holodeck's the end game.
Yeah,
like
you can have your holographic hard light waifu or husbando.
You saying that, I can't remember who said it, but someone I was watching a while ago said, and I quote, "I can't believe we've got virtual reality porn before we got sex bots."
Yeah. And also, it's got to be someone's job to clean out all the spooge from the holodeck.
No, I think we're in an advanced society where the holodeck would just every time someone leaves, it's just cool, we're gonna hit the beam and it's all gone.
Yeah, like the danger room in X-Men.
God damn, yeah, no one's going in there to clean up all Wolverine's blood, and it would be Wolverine's because he doesn't care if he takes a hit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a reasonable place to start winding down. From the ones that I brought up, did you have a favourite?
Oh, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing each other's because I didn't make a list of all the stuff you brought up. Let's just do weakest link and MVP.
Okay. Do you have a weakest link?
Oh yeah, my weakest link is the Power Glove, because even though I never got my hands on it, it was, by all accounts, shit at what it was meant to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit at what it was meant to do, and also Nintendo seemed determined to just not have it succeed.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. What about you, Rick?
Wii Remote Landfill.
No. You can't have the accessories for the Wii Remote be your weakest link. That means putting the Wii Remote into the weakest link. And I'm going to contest that fucking point.
Well, I mean, we did talk about it separately. We didn't say that Wii Remote was the gimmick. We just added all of the accessories as gimmicks. You even brought up your the landfill that you had.
Yeah, but they're not gimmicks. They're just extra shit you could. You're bending the rules, sir, and I don't like it.
So what's your MVP?
Oh, we're just going to end on that being your weakest link because you're a coward.
Yeah.
I want you to say. I want to hear you say the words, Rick. Rick of the podcast Nonsense Review, am choosing this as my weakest link because I'm a coward. I'm
choosing it as my weakest link because I'm a coward, and also because I don't want to give it to the Samba de Amigo.
Fair enough.
Yeah, to be honest, what really could I give a weakest link to? The Steel Battalion thing? Nah, because that's cool. Do I give it to the chainsaw because it's just a controller? Nah, it's cool. Nah, I'm a coward, and it's got to go to the detritus that you really don't need for it, and it's just there to sell to grandmas. But yeah, do you have an MVP?
It's a real tough one because we talked about some really fun things that brought back some really fun memories. If I'm being honest, I think it's probably got to go to the Guitar Hero controllers because it really...
Yeah.
I think people who weren't there to experience it don't realise how much of a grip on the video game industry this actually had. Everybody had a Guitar Hero game, at least one.
Yeah, and I'm just going to fast forward that my MVP is similar. It's the Rock Band.
Oh, it's the same controller. You could use a Rock Band. You could use the Rock Band stuff on Guitar Hero games and vice versa.
Yeah, they were kind of nudge, wink, wink, designed to be intercompatible. And both games realized that you can use either because all they really care about is this is what the strum twanger is mapped to. This is what ABXY are mapped to.
Yeah, so you could actually play Guitar Hero games with the regular controller. It would be
it just felt shit.
So it'd be X, square, triangle, and circle for the first 4 notes. Do you want to take a stab at what button was the 5th note?
L2.
Oh, you're really close. It was R1.
Okay.
Now, just for a moment Rick. Think about an average Guitar Hero song on expert difficulty, and think about the position your hand would need to be in.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah. Thank you. I will poo-poo the Guitar Hero controller ever so slightly, based on the fact that the PS3, you needed a dongle for the Guitar Hero controller to work.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because it had built-in Bluetooth for their regular controllers.
Yeah, I tell you what's kind of just as bad to a degree is that the Xbox 360 one had a wire that went to a proprietary ending thing, and then they gave you immediately the adapter from that into the USB, which was how you connected it to the Xbox. So if you lost that, then you had a completely useless item.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, it's fucking silly. It's possible that that's the regular traditional thing that is what connects to a traditional sound stuff.
No.
Like an XLR cable or something.
I've had an electric guitar, and that was just, well, it wasn't aux, it was a bit thicker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the electric guitar is the 3.5mm jack or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the big one that's like half the size of your little finger. Yeah,
I'm just picturing what you told me still, and I'm still just like, that's a real dumb decision to make.
Yeah, it was, because I've used XLR cables, and yes, they're very interesting. They're decent and high quality, and you can get a lot of data down them. They're mostly used for analog, but yeah, then it had to get converted to USB, and we have two things that use it: the guitar and the drums, and we lost one of the adapters, so you can only use one of that and the microphone at the same time. So that's fun. And I can tell you exactly who lost it as well. It was one of my neighbours.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was like a cleaner or something.
No. We lent it to one of the neighbours, and it went with two of these adapters, and it came back with one.
And you never spoke to them again?
Nope.
Wait, really?
Pretty much.
Oh, mate, you lost one of me cables. Can you try and find it? And then they just didn't talk to you ever again.
Pretty much.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Then again, I distinctly remember I lent a video game to a friend when I was younger, and it wasn't just any video game. It was a video game I loved, and I shared it because I wanted to talk about it with them. And then they just never gave it back. And whenever I brought it up, but this was when I was a kid. Like, it wasn't when I was in my 20s or anything. Every time I brought it up, I was like, "Oh, are you playing? Can I have my game back? Because you've had it for a while now." And they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, I gave you a video game. I would like it back, please. And they just stopped talking to me. And that's why.
Yeah. In fact, oh man, it was the same house but a different family. I lent Worms to a neighbour, and this is a big deal because I really like Worms. And he lent it to another person on the estate.
You can't do that.
That's
against the law.
No. And then it went missing, and I just had to eat shit because I didn't have Worms anymore. So then I bought Worms for the PC instead. But yeah, this was Worms on the Mega Drive, which is the worst Worms possible.
Oh man!
But still, I was so bothered that I lost it because freaking Tom down the road lent it to Harmick, who lived in the house that ended up being inhabited by the girl who lost the cable for Rock Band.
That's yeah, like, if don't lend shit out if you're not willing to lose it. It's one of those.
Yeah.
That's a lesson everyone has to learn, really. It's better to just listen to someone else who has lesson and say, listen, if you don't want to lose the thing, don't lend it. But they're my best mate, they never would, and it's like, yeah. Like,
yeah,
Rick and I are friends.
It's real sobering.
Like, Rick and I are friends, and we technically have a contract regarding this podcast, despite the fact we make no money.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those where, like, yeah, nothing's going to happen, but with this written down, it doesn't matter if something does.
Yeah. It's one of those. I think everybody has been burnt enough times to realise you need something in place.
Yeah, and, like, if you're mates, then the response is just like, yeah, I get it, no worries, man.
Yeah. And if something needs to be written, like there's the good old caveat of if something needs to be revised, then we will revise it and we'll do it like adults at the time.
Yeah.
But well, that's that's everything.
Part of the reason why I write everything down like this nowadays is because when I was visiting my nan once every other week when she was on her decline, she used to really like Judge Rinder.
Right, okay.
So it was on all the fucking time, and it's like the story was always the same, and that was he was me best mate, but he took all me money. Do you have anything in writing saying it was your money that you were lending him? And he went, no. And he went, I can't do anything. And then the very next case would be the exact same story, and it's like it says here you lent him £200. Do you have a receipt for this? Yes, it's here. That's his signature.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. But yes, I think that's about it from us today. If you have any thoughts, if you tell us what your favorite and most hated gimmick controllers were, if you're in the comment section down below on YouTube, or the comic section on whatchamacallit on not Netflix. If you imagine if this on Netflix.
if you pause for a moment, Rick, I could say the name of the website for you.
Yeah.
Spotify.
That's the one, not Netflix.
Also, please let us know if we missed any Gimmick controllers that you think were worth talking about that we didn't. We're just two people. We didn't experience every single one.
Yes. In fact, we didn't experience half the ones that we talked about today. But yes, it's going to be a goodbye for... Actually, no.
Alternatively, you can send us an email at nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Wait.
Yep.
Is it .com or .co.uk? I've forgotten.
Yeah, gmail.com.
Yeah, cool. Oh, we're all fucking up today. Cool. I'll take some of the slack off you, Rick.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a goodbye from me.
By the power glove.